Welcome to my channel where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election held in Nigeria on February 25, 2023, and the result announced on March 1st, 2023, and that result announcement is being challenged at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, which gave its verdict on Wednesday, September 6th, 2023. As I talk to you, most Nigerians are still in shock up to this morning, wondering what happened yesterday, wondering what the country is turning to. The only people who are not in shock are those who already know what this country is all about. That Nigeria is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Now, being one of the most corrupt countries in the world, and the most corrupt country in West Africa, and the most corrupt country in Africa, and one of the most corrupt countries in the world, many will not be shocked about the fact that virtually no institution in Nigeria is free of corruption. So those who know Nigeria for what it is, a very corrupt country, corrupted institution, which Transparency International can bear me witness. In that case, many people were not shocked. But they never expected that what happened, the result they got on Wednesday will go that way. They had expected that when the results or the judgment of the court will come, they will get reasonable reasons why the verdict go one way or the other. There will be clarity. Instead of having a kind of haziness, the kind of thing, haziness that pervaded the country. And when Nigerians woke up on March 1st to hear that somebody has been declared the winner of the presidential election. But this video, I want to show that the government or the verdict or the judgment, in fact, ticked all the boxes that the APC wants to be ticked. In fact, if you look at the judgment, they provided even better defense than Tinubu's defense lawyers could have done. The way they were sounding in reading out their judgment, they were like reprimanding the petitioners. They have nothing nice to say about the petitioners. It was as if the petitioners wasted the time of the court and the time of Nigerians. But that's not the case. You will see the anger in their voices, in their delivery. It was that like they are pouring all the angers they have against Nigerians, especially those of them who are campaigning, all eyes on the judiciary. They want to show that nobody can tell them to do the right thing, because obviously they are not used to being reminded to do the right thing. So they got angry. I saw the whole thing as judgment of anger. Judgment by angry judges. That was how they sounded. And to many Nigerians who had expected something better, they are in shock. And if you look at the judgment, many of the things that APC wanted to be done was just delivered to them as they wanted it. Let's take, for instance, 25% in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. A day before the 2023 presidential election, on February 24th, former resident electoral commissioner, who should know better, said that nobody should be declared the president of Nigeria in the election coming tomorrow unless the person has 25% in Abuja. Mike Igini is one of the few men of integrity in the Independent National Electoral Commission. He was an incorruptible INEC official. That was why he had a running battle with corrupt politicians. His last post was in Akwa Ibom State, which was a beehive of corruption, a center of unaccountable oil wealth that was thrown around to buy anybody that is buyable. But Mike in Guinea refused to be bought. When Mike in Guinea tells you that 25% in the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja is compulsory, you can take it to the bank, but it's certainly no longer, you can't take it to a bank in Nigeria, going by the verdict of yesterday. You can literally take it to the bank that it is compulsory. And if you investigate, you will also find out that in 2008, the Supreme Court had already ruled on this matter in the Yaradua versus Buhari, that getting 25% in Abuja is compulsory. And they also define that and in section 134, section 2B, we say that for anyone to be declared the winner of an election, presidential election, the person must get the majority of the vote cast in the election, get 25% in 2/3 of the states of the federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And they insisted, the court insisted, Supreme Court, that and is conjunctive. It is conjunctive. But what did we hear yesterday? What we heard yesterday was that Abuja does not matter. Nothing special about Abuja. The same echo. They were echoing the defense of the APC lawyers and Tinubu's lawyers. You know, there was an allegation that somebody wrote judgment for which was trending on social media. And the person who made that allegation was reported to the security agencies and all that. Whether it's true or false, that's now a matter that will be determined by the security agents and when they get the person who made the allegation. Okay? But the judgment, as far as I can see it, well, I don't think that APC, if APC had written this, the judgment, they would write it better than it was delivered to them on Wednesday. Because all the boxes of APC was ticked the way they wanted it. All the boxes. Okay? Remember, back in April, when Tinubu was still president-elect, he explained that there is no exclusive obligation that a candidate must get 25% in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to be returned president in an election. That was what he said. And what did the court deliver yesterday? They delivered it according to how Tinubu wanted it. They didn't cite the Supreme Court justice. They didn't cite previous citations. Citations that even people like Mike Mike Andoaka, Michael Andoaka, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, former Attorney General of the Federation, who was Attorney General during the time of Yaradua, who was aware that the Supreme Court has settled this matter of 25% in Abuja in 2008. In an interview that he granted Arise Television, he said that this matter is a settled matter in 2008. The only caveat he added was that the Supreme Court may change its mind. But in changing its mind, you would have expected this appeal court to make reference to that Supreme Court ruling and then say why it cannot stand anymore. But they deliberately ignored it. And what did you get? So that particular box of the APC was ticked. 25% in Abuja does not matter. There is nothing special about Abuja. Abuja is nothing special. It's no special. Nothing special about Abuja. Yet, the Constitution created Abuja. Abuja is a product of Constitution of Nigeria. And in the list of the Constitution listed 36 states in the Federation, it didn't put Abuja. There's a special place for Abuja. That was why in that section 134 subsection 2b, it talks about 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. This did not mean anything to the justices of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, and they ticked it in favor of APC. It went as APC wanted it. It is not in line with the letters of the Constitution as far as many of us are concerned. After all, the justices have no monopoly of interpretation of the fine lines of the Constitution. We all read English. We can understand the English language. We can understand the and. We know what is conjunctive and everything else. The Supreme Court had already settled that matter, that and is conjunctive. So they tick the box for APC on that particular one. Now, that was how they were ticking the boxes in line with what APC wanted, in line with what Tinubu wanted. Because they were not able to convince doubting Thomases like us that we are wrong in our interpretation. Because that was what was expected of them to do, to give clarity of their job, to show clarity. We didn't see any clarity. No man of conscience in Nigeria today. In fact, I have seen lawyers who say that they will no longer practice law in Nigeria, that practicing law in Nigeria is useless because of the kind of verdict that came out yesterday, in particular about the situation of the Federal Capital Territory. They say they will not practice law again in Nigeria if the Supreme Court sustain this ruling. If the Supreme Court sustain it, that there's no basis that law is useless in Nigeria, practicing it in Nigeria. So we will wait for what the Supreme Court will say, because this is just court of appeal. The Supreme Court is a superior court. It had defined what is forfeiture. It had defined what is the position of FCT in terms of 25% in an election and all that. So we leave this as appeal court position. But yet, it doesn't remove the fact that Nigerians are in shock and they look at it that The justices were just ticking the boxes of the APC, the boxes that Tinubu wanted. Now, remember that also in April, that was why at the beginning of this video, I showed you newspaper headlines before you get to this place. Before I started the recording, I showed newspaper headlines. In April, the All Progressive Congress admitted that its candidates, that's its presidential candidates, that its presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, actually forfeited the sum of $460,000 to the United States government in 1993, following drug trafficking allegations. In a court document filed by the party claimed that it was Tinubu's bank account that was indicted and not Tinubu. That Tinubu is different from his bank account. That Tinubu is different from his bank account. And if you listen to the judgment they delivered yesterday, they agreed that Tinubu is different from his bank account. It is his bank account that put drug money inside itself. It was his bank account that put drug money inside itself. It wasn't Tinubu that put it. He knows nothing about it. That it is the fault of the bank account that drug money is inside it. It's not the fault of Tinubu. So what was indicted was the bank account. What was at fault was the bank account. And the Nigerian courts agreed with them that what was in the account of Tinubu as drug money, which he forfeited to the United States government as proceed of narcotics. It was not his fault. It is the account's fault. And the courts of Federal Republic of Nigeria agreed that it was the fault of the account and not the fault of the owner of the account. The owner of the account did nothing wrong. It is the account that did something wrong by allowing proceeds of narcotic to be deposited inside it. Only in Nigeria. So yesterday, many were in shock when the courts ruled that Tinubu cannot be disqualified on the basis of forfeiture of drug money in the United States because he wasn't banned from United States. That's another angle they brought yesterday too. Besides blaming his bank account and not himself, they say, if you say that Tinubu should be disqualified, why is it that he was not banned from coming to United States? They say because he wasn't banned from entering United States, it means he has no criminal case. Even though some of us, we don't know the last time he went to United States or they brought his passport to show that they have been traveling to United States. Because all we know in recent time has always been traveling to London and Paris and all that. But that's by the way. But they say because he's allowed to enter United States, I've been traveling to United States, it means that you cannot disqualify him. You cannot stop him from contesting the election. Then it went on also to cite some of the APC defense that have been made by people like Festus Keyamo. The court cited that Tinubu has been previously cleared by Nigeria police of any criminal issues in the US, which came through an inquiry that Nigerian police made inquiry to the US embassy, and the US embassy said that Tinubu has no case to answer in US. Say he has no case to answer in US. So since he has no case to answer, Nigerian police has cleared him. So they use that again to dismiss any claim of indictment or dishonesty, as the Constitution stated in Section 137. If you go and read that Section 137, it itemizes conditions that somebody can be disqualified. So the justices were asking they were asking, say if he was indicted, they were asking if Tinubu was indicted, why was it that he still traveled to US? That's literally what the court said yesterday, which was